Peace to everyone. This article is about three rare wolf families that Washington has decided to kill. And personally, I think it's going a little too far killing these wolves that need to leave to feed their families. Wildlife officials have ordered the killing of rare gray wolves because they hunted cows who were allowed to graze on the national forest where the wolves live. So the cows have been feeding on the wolves' territory, but Washington is really going too far because these animals are rare. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife will allow the killing of one or two wolves from the Smackout family, the third wolf pack the department has targeted this fall. Likely options in this case including shooting from a helicopter, trapping and shooting from the ground. The WDFW wrote in a release on Wednesday. I don't agree with this because, wolves have families. They could have pups around or whatever. And these animals need to survive on to feed their family and everything else. And here, as you can see, the rare wolves in the pictures that they are want to kill. This decision comes after the department ordered the deaths of the last two remaining members of the Old Profanity Territory family and the last three wolves of the Togo pack. There are just 4 or 5 adult members of the Smackout family left. The goal of lethal removal is to manage wolf livestock conflicts to minimize livestock losses without undermining the recovery of a substantial wolf population, according to the WDFW. Well, if the farmers would have kept the cows on up on the farm where they belong instead of having them in the wolf territory, then none of this would have happened. But the farmers, they don't care how far off the cows go, and they're just trespassing on the wolves' territory. But lethal removal of endangered wolves is very controversial, and for the first time in Washington, 3 families would be almost totally destroyed at once. And this is sad because the wolves are wild dogs, yes, and they are doing what they can for themselves to help themselves feed and everything else. WDFW has been killing wolves to deter conflict since 2012 when the agency wiped out the entire wedge pack. Yet, depredations on livestock continue. Maggie Howell, executive director of the Wolf Conservation Center, told the Dodo peer-reviewed research demonstrates that killing predators is not only an effective solution to deter depredation on cows, but it can even result in increased attacks. And these wolves are not doing anything wrong except going after food that comes around them and killing it so they could eat and be full and then go take it back to their pups wherever they're hiding them so this way they could eat too. While Washington has killing wolves to try to disrupt predatory behavior for the last several years, WDFW Director Kelly Susie Wind admitted that this is the worst year we've ever had. In an interview with the Spokesman Review, I know we've never had 3 packs that are above the threshold of lethal removal, Susie Wind said. A century ago, gray wolves were nearly wiped out across the country because of hunting and habitat loss. Yeah, they have been getting wiped out. The habitat is losing all these wolves because the habitat is being destroyed. And there's nowhere for them to go except they gotta go wherever it's necessary. In the 1960s, the introduction of endangered species protections helped bring them back from the brink of extinction. But when the ranching industry gets involved, the WDFW is forced to make a choice. So now the wildlife is forced to make a choice of helping these animals by putting them on a endangered species list. So this way nobody can really kill them. Washington has over 1 million head of cattle and approximately 120 wolves. Brooks Fay, executive director of Predator Defense, told the Dodo, "Killing wolves will not solve this problem. Keeping cattle away from core wolves' territories on public and private lands will." Now, that's true. They need to keep the cows away from the wolf territories, and the farmers, they just do whatever they want. They don't care if their cows are getting killed by wolves or anything. They just let them get killed. Well, the farmers need to wake up, move their cows back to the barn where they belong. Howell pointed out that killing wolves is rooted more in a thirst of retribution rather than reason. One of the oldest and most primitive responses to conflict with livestock is to kill the predators, even if they are already rare and or threatened with extinction, she said. Yeah, as long as these wolves are in extinction, they cannot really kill the wolves because it would be too much for them. Fahey is trying to get Washington Governor Jay Inslee to weigh in on the issue. He has been completely silent. Fahey said, "It's time to wake him up." So the governor of Washington needs to wake up and say something about this because he's been silent for way too long. And, this is just time for him to get up and say something, speak out against this mess. Let the farmers know that the cows need to stay away from these animals because they're just getting themselves into more deep water. Oh, okay. All right, I'm out.